Is it time to have speed limits in professional bass fishing? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. If you're new, my name is Steve Chapman. First, I need to make sure that I say this up front. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but I believe that we're in a critical time in the industry and the sport, and it's time to look at things from maybe a different perspective and see if we are not making mistakes with how speed limits and safety issues aren't affecting tournament bass fishing. Because being safe on the water as a boater, as a co-angler, as a general person that's just out there is very, very important. We don't want to lose anyone. It's a sad and destructive part of this industry. And when we have boating accidents that are a little bit more frequent in the last little bit, it does have an effect on, it has a ripple effect all the way down from the organization to the public, to the fan, professional bass fishermen, to even sponsors that might want to participate or promote themselves. Because a boating accident not only is horrible for the angler and the other person, but as that news gets put out more and more, it just ripples down into everything that we're doing. But do we need to have speed limits for our professional bass fishing tournaments? Now, first we need to say, does speed hurt? Of course. Now, it isn't the main cause of most fishing incidents, and that's what I'm going to say. In this video, we're going to talk about a lot of statistics, a lot of things that maybe you might not know, maybe that, well, to be honest, I didn't know until this morning. But speed is not the main reason for a lot of the boating accidents that are happening. Being distracted in alcohol, congestion on the water, competition, and lots of other factors are in the works here. And we're seeing an increase in these incidents because of social media, bigger news platforms. But social media is really drastically different than what it was 10 years ago. There's just so many platforms that you find out everything about everyone. And we should be able to be better than that. Now, we need to cover it because it still has an effect on the industry, on the sport and the hobby. But I want to know if you think it's important that we should start to implement a speed limit during tournament fishing. Now, how could this be enforced? There are apps, and I would imagine in Bass Track, in a Major League Fishing Score Tracker, and Fishing Chaos, that great app there, that they're able to figure out not only where the angler is, but the speed that they're going. Might be a nightmare. Might be horrible to try to figure that out, but if it's safety for the anglers and for the public and anybody else who's on the water, should we look into making speed limits more viable in tournament fishing? Now, how would this affect the anglers and sponsorships? I can tell you it would hurt anglers. I think it would hurt them, but also help them. I think sponsor-wise, the motor companies put a lot of money into R&D, making things safer, making things cleaner, more energy efficient. But do we need to be going 80 miles per hour on the water where you don't have any brakes? And like I said, we're going to get into a lot of statistics in the next couple pages. And how would this affect the organizations? Well, we do know that speed is the biggest factor of most of these boating accidents. And when I say boating incidents and accidents, it includes open boats. That is a pontoon. That is a jet ski. That is a bass boat. That's a small aluminum boat. It's all lumped into one general vessel. And my next question is if we have a speed limit, would it reduce some of the accidents that we're witnessing because we have more tournaments than ever? And there's lots of people in the comments that are saying there's too many tournaments, there's too much speed. I agree with all of you. I'm not taking that away. But here's some of the stats. We had 3,887 recreational boating accidents happened in 2024, with 556 people losing their lives. There were 2,170 injuries that were reported. Open motorboats were the most common vessel type involved in accidents and fatalities. 45% of the accidents and 44% of the deaths. Bass boats fall under this general category, and the fatality rate was 4.8 deaths per 100,000 registered recreational vessels. Now, I should mention, alcohol was 20% of those fatalities. Now, operator inattention, improper lookout, operator inexperience, machinery failure, and navigation rules ranked as the top 5 primary factors in incidents. Collisions were the most frequent. 56% of the incidents resulted in 24% of the fatalities and 54% of the injuries. Now, navigation rules were a contributing factor in 58% of the incidents and 34% of the fatalities, and that's 63% of the injuries. Now, here's the big thing. Where cause of death was known, 76 of the fatal boating incidents victims drowned. Where PFD usage was known, 87% were not, and I want to repeat, were not wearing a PFD. 69% of the deaths occurred when an operator did not receive his boating safety instruction on vessels where the operator had received a nationally approved boating safety education certificate. So is it about speed, or should all tournament anglers, everyone from MLF, Elites, NPFL, Dual Threat, all the way through, even to the locals, should they have a boater safety certificate? Because let's be honest, bass boats aren't the biggest issue. But if we can eliminate that narrative and be more proactive, it only helps our industry. It helps our sport and the hobby. We can come back and say, look, all these tournament anglers have a boater safety. They're wearing their PFDs at all times. Because when you start hearing those statistics, and remember, we had 556 fatalities. 87% of those did not have a PFD on. That's huge. Should we make it so tournament anglers at all levels must wear their PFDs at all times? Now, in 2024, there were 747 collision with a vessel and 43 fatalities. Falling overboard was the highest at 138, and collision with a fixed object had 69 fatalities. And a lot of people in the comments mentioned that they thought that age was a factor in the collisions and the fatalities and the injuries. But does age really matter? Well, if you were under 12, they had 16 vessels involved and 4 fatalities. 13 to 18 had 317 incidents with 7 fatalities. 19 to 25 had 510 for 49 fatalities. 26 through 35 had 572 versus 92 fatalities. 36 to 55 had 1,528 incidents for 183 fatalities. And over 55 had 1,339 incidents for 185 fatalities. The most incidents happened the higher the age was, and that might have a lot to do with people drinking and having fun and enjoying what's going on. But the last stat I'm going to say is that most incidents happened with only one person on board. They had 1,689 incidents for 212 fatalities. So the stats are really they really say a lot, to be brutally honest. I don't want to see drastic changes because I don't think that when we have drastic changes that it helps. But I think in this case, the stats kind of prove that we need to look at things drastically different than we ever have from all tournaments. I'm not eliminating or I'm not being exclusive to any organization. I think if you are at every level, there should be things in place so that we take care of what's going on, that we take care of not only our resource, but the people that are out there fishing, and that we that we can try to eliminate as much drama that comes with these. And I'm not sure how you feel about it. And looking up these stats this morning it was enlightening, but at the same time, I'll be honest, I didn't think they were as bad as this. I don't think we hear about all the fatalities that happen. I think there's lots more that go on. And even though bass fishing is a small percentage, in my opinion, of the incidents and the accidents and the fatalities, if we can eliminate as many as possible and say everyone's going to wear a PFD, everyone has to have a boater safety certificate, and we do the little things, it only makes the sport, the hobby, and the industry look better. And I know I am guilty. When I had the dinghy, I had a 16-foot flats boat that was the greatest boat on earth, Hells Bay Waterman. And I wore my life vest very little in less than 4 inches of water because the boat drafted 3.5 inches. And now that I'm older, don't want to say wiser, but I'm older and I have a son who's very important to me. I want to make sure that I prepare him and myself when we do go fishing, that we're safe and secure. And I would hate to get that phone call from someone to say that my son had been in an accident on the water or even in a car. It would be devastating. And if we can eliminate it, be more educated, and try to do things different, I do think it helps us. But you tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment below. And thank you. It's been a busy morning already. This took me a few hours to do. And I hope you guys watch the whole thing. If you can do me a favor, if you're on your mobile device and you love this kind of content or you love the channel, do me a favor, hit that hype button. You can do it 3 times a week. Do it for the channel. It helps move the channel. It helps grow the channel faster. But if you're not a subscriber, click that like, subscribe, and that notification bell so you know when the next video drops. And let me just say again, thank you to all the people that are interactive on the channel. It's overwhelming. And some of these videos that we've done recently have gotten a ton of comments. So I'm going to go back on, reply to comments, and just make sure I say thank you at all times, because I really do appreciate it. And we're a team and a family. This is a community here. Your opinion is not going to get bashed by me, ever. We might have a difference of opinion. That's perfectly fine. How we communicate it and learn from each other is what's important. Don't go on there and call people names. Don't go on there and disrespect somebody. It's not how it works. It's not appropriate either. So let's be very mindful and give everybody the respect that they all deserve. Okay? And thank you. Thank you for just being part of the team. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.